All right, welcome back. Michael Browning here again, and we are continuing our series on motivation, how to get the best out of therapy. This is session 4. Here we're discussing what you do between sessions is what changes your life. Now, a couple things here. I talked about tasks in the previous video, and homework and then trying to apply the things we're learning in therapy is so important. I've used it in other videos with the analogy of the gym again, but the idea that if I go and pay a fitness coach, to teach me how to use the machines and do certain workouts, that's great. And I'm probably getting a really good workout while I'm in the lesson, right? But if I don't go back to the gym on my own and actually keep trying to do those things, I'm not really going to learn them. And also not going to get any fitter, right? And it's the same with therapy. The therapy session itself can be very exhausting. It can be very insightful. It can have a lot of good things. But if I don't use them in between, I'm not going to make as much success. And I would add, if you got tasks or things like that, doing those things is the workout, right? It's the thing that helps you continue to change your brain, grow and learn. So you do need to continue to do the intersessional work or the tasks. One of the things that we would just review again, if you had a pre-session prep, you would be reviewing what tasks you did. Hopefully you've kept notes along the way. If not, you're trying to make a few notes before the session. And after the session, you're really refreshing the ongoing tasks, because some of them are only between 2 sessions, but many of them are continuous, meaning they'll continue throughout your whole therapy and hopefully in some cases into your whole life after therapy. And just keep an implementation checklist, what you're working on, where you're at with it, and that kind of stuff. Therapy is 1 hour a week, sometimes every 2 weeks for people. But your life's the other 167, right? The other 167 hours. And so it's really what you do between that's going to make the difference, right? Preparing for a session, the questions, emotions, wins, struggles, things that you really want to make sure to update the therapist on. And don't forget to do your own little debrief after the session. So the key here to this lesson is why insight without action equals frustration. We can have some breakthroughs in therapy. There could be some great insights. But if it's mental only, okay, in the thought world, and it's not an action, there's no change. There's really no change. Even on the mental aspect, we can't even change our thoughts if we aren't seeing evidence of action in our lives, seeing evidence of change in our lives. So one thing people don't realize is the brain itself, yes, our big computer up here, it files things a certain way, memories a certain way, and all that. But a lot of where we experience our life, the experience of life, is in our gut. It's in our heart. Those are words in English we often use, poetically, but it actually is literally true, because around the heart and the intestines and certain other places, there's something called neurocytes. Neurocytes are like neural cells, but not the ones that are in the actual skull, but they operate sort of within the same system, and they kind of store things, but they store things differently. They store things in that gut feeling, that heart feeling. And so when we want substantial change and lasting change, we can't just change our thoughts. We have to live out experiences. The experience feed back into us a different impression. That impression changes the guts, the heart, the way we experience it. And that feeling of that change, that feeling that I can react differently in that situation, I can have a different experience, that's what makes us change, right? And kind of an analogy for some of you more old timers there, but is the head knowledge is like having a downloaded movie and or a program, and we need to update it or something. We would download a patch, right? And just click that. Thoughts change. Good, it's changed. Whereas the stuff we're talking about here in the gut and the heart, that's more of the old VHS tapes. They had the tape kind of going, and you would have to press play and record, and it'd be like a live TV event, and you'd actually record it, and then it would slowly record as the event goes on, and you'd stop it when the event was over. Then you could like rewind it and rewatch it, right, on the tape. Well, our gut and heart's kind of more like that. So if you want to tape over it, you can't just download a patch, okay? You have to actually go through a real life situation over and over again often, and have it experienced in such a way that it records into you over the old recordings, over the old sort of memories that are in the body, right? So action is the key. So this is the key point to the what to do between your sessions. Is really about take action. Don't think of it as a purely mental exercise. It has to go through the mind, obviously, but it has to come out in action. Action is what changes things, not thoughts or words. All right, so there might be a bit of homework down there or whatever, but when you are done with this lesson, move on to the next lesson, and I'll see you there.